So stars in Hollywood are speaking out about the popular weight loss drug like Ozempic. In fact, friend of the show and Botched star Dr. Dubrow said that he used Ozempic because he wanted to slim down, but he said he quit because he experienced some side effects and missed the joy of eating. So here to talk all about this, we've got Dr. Kohli joining us. Thank you so much for being here, Doc.
What's up, Doc?
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Smattering of applause?
Yeah.
Yes, we got love for you.
So Dr. Dubrow said that he was looking to lose about 10 to 15 pounds, so vanity pounds. But the question is someone like him really a good candidate for Ozempic?
You know, there are a few types of people who should get Ozempic. Diabetics, people who are clinically obese, or anyone who's overweight with weight-related conditions like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or sleep apnea. So I don't know Dr. Dubrow's personal medical history, but if this really was a vanity weight loss, then it's absolutely inappropriate. In fact, in the medical community, we're warning against people doing this because it's not been studied. We don't know the effects of this. We don't know if it's safe to do. And worst of all, you're going to gain that weight back. You're going to jerk your body around, and you'll end up gaining that weight back when you stop the medication. So I really hope he wasn't doing it just for the vanity reason. But we're seeing more and more people doing this because the celebrities that we look up to, like Elon Musk and others, they end up doing it. So we think that's what it's supposed to be for.
Do we know how you gain the weight back? Like, does it come back the same way that you lost it, or does it come back in pockets? Because that's what I'm most curious about.
So, you know, some people, about a third of people will keep it off, and that's because they've actually changed their behavior. Because you know how Dr. Dubrow said it changes your relationship with food. You don't get that same reward circuit from food. So you just sort of stop caring about food. So those people will keep it off because they just end up eating less. But for most people, they go right back to the types of food eating behaviors that they had. And so it comes back pretty quickly within weeks, actually, of stopping the medication.
And Erica, you can speak to like gaining that weight back, like mentally.
I can speak to gaining weight, yes.
No, you've done extreme fitness, so you know what that was like.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was curious because when I would lose like up to 40 plus pounds, when it would come back, it came back differently than what I had before I lost it. So it became like pockets of fat, like in my body, that were harder to target because it wasn't like, you know, the overall.
And I think you're making an interesting point, which is that we're messing with the body's regulation system, right? We're messing with our satiety hormones, we're messing with our set point for our weight, and we don't know what messing with it again and again, on and off does. And so these people that use these drugs, get on them, lose the weight, get off, do it again, that can potentially be very dangerous. On top of that, as we age and enter menopause and everything, we start holding on to our weight differently as well.
All right, well, Doc, we got to get to this because I've heard that there's a new blood test that might be able to let you know even up to 15 years ahead of time if you're a candidate to be stricken with Alzheimer's. Is this a real thing? Is this something people can get, maybe should get?
I mean, I think this is a scientific breakthrough because how we think about Alzheimer's now, how we diagnose it, we wait for your memory to start to decline. Then we do brain scans and we do spinal taps to see if you have these proteins, these junky proteins that build up in the brain that cause Alzheimer's. So this is a blood test, just like you said, Al, that could be diagnosed before you even see some of the brain changes, before you even have the memory changes, 15 to 20 years ahead of time, we could start to see levels of this protein go up before you manifest with the symptoms of having Alzheimer's. But here are my thoughts on the test. So first of all, not everybody whose test comes out positive is going to go on to have Alzheimer's.
How accurate is it?
So it's pretty accurate at diagnosing the protein, 96-97% at diagnosing that protein. But not everybody who has that protein is going to develop the clinical syndrome of Alzheimer's disease. So let's say you get a positive test result. You may never go on to get Alzheimer's, but it could totally impact how you think about yourself. And so I'm curious, would you guys get this test?
I would, just like I got the BRCA test for breast cancer. I want to know. I want to know if there's anything. I have 2 kids that depend on me. I want to know if there's anything I can do. And I'm not a hypochondriac, so I feel like I could look at it and say, okay, there's a chance. What are some of the things I can do to offset that? Whether it's supplements, whether there's some new advances in medicine, as well as getting my affairs in order, having discussions with my kids. Again, without sounding the alarm, I would have to be careful with that.
But do you think it would be a dagger hanging over your head?
Good point. I don't know.
I think it would be bad if your insurance company found out about this. And see, sadly, that's how I look at it. It'd be great to be able to give my family a heads up, but like once your medical information's out there, now insurance companies can penalize you for that. So that's unfortunately how I look at it.
Yeah, I also did BRCA, but that I felt like I had more control over if it were to have come back positive. Like, what can I do in order to avoid breast cancer or ovarian cancer? This I'm not sure I would do, because there isn't anything you can. I mean, there are things that maybe you can alleviate. Prolong.
Is there
I don't
anything
know.
you can do?
So you could work harder on your other risk factors like alcohol, exercise, sleep. But I will say, as a physician and as a person, I am a huge fan of checking and knowing. I would do it because I think the medical community needs to step up and find solutions. And if we start looking on the population level, that will funnel funding into people putting research behind this and actually trying to find, if we diagnose you earlier and treat you earlier, maybe we'll prevent it from ever coming on. So it's just like your cholesterol, right? If your cholesterol's high, you can wait for that heart attack and then start treating it, or you can say, I know that the heart attack's going to happen. Let me treat it early, and you'll prevent that heart attack from ever happening. So I think this is really positive, and I think insurance companies and others will need to be pushed, because we shouldn't discourage people from screening. We need to think about dementia prevention just like we think about cancer prevention, heart disease prevention, all of those things. But today, it's a tough decision, I will say.
Fascinating.
Good logic, though.
Really fascinating. DBL Nation, go and follow Dr. Kohli on social media at Pyle Kohli MD. Also, be sure to subscribe to her YouTube page. Plus, check out her podcast, Heart of Medicine, wherever you listen to your podcast. Thank you again, Dr. Kohli.
Thanks, Doc.
As always,